am your RusAme reader, Song, and today I will be reading to you from Never Left by Plastic Bag 3207. Now, on to the last chapter, Chapter 18. Jeeps! Russia called as he grabbed a few folders full of paperwork. The white dog came trotting in, licking the last of his food off his muzzle. The man smiled and opened the door. By now, it had become perfectly normal for Russia to bring Chips to UN meetings. Most countries liked seeing the dog. Plus, they knew he had saved Poland's life. Others weren't too keen on the idea, but they dealt with it anyway. Russia hopped into the car and pulled out of the driveway. He smiled as he parked his car in one of the parking spots and walked into the UN meeting. Chips sat at his side. The two men made their way down the halls to the room where the meetings were held. People looked up from their small conversations. Some waved or said hello. Others just continued with their conversations. Russia walked over to his usual chair in between Ukraine and Kazakhstan. For the most part, the meeting was boring as usual. UN was just talking and talking, always in the same monotone voice. Then the meeting was suddenly interrupted by someone running down the hall, yelling, "Fire! Everyone out! There's a fire!" Then, almost as if on cue, the fire alarms went off. Countries started to panic as they all tried to shuffle towards the door. Russia managed to catch a glimpse of Poland clinging onto Germany's arm. Most of the countries were heading right towards the main entrance, but Russia stopped as he heard a woman yelling for help. He ran to the left towards her voice. "Help! Help! I'm stuck!" she cried, banging on the elevator doors, which were only a few inches open. Russia looked around, looking for something to help get them open with, knowing that he wasn't quite strong enough to pull them open himself. He saw a desk with a loose leg in what looked like someone's office. He quickly ran in and grabbed the table leg and pulled until it popped off. He grabbed the large piece of wood. "Watch out!" he yelled as he wedged the table leg in between the doors and pushed, using the wood as a lever. After a few moments of struggle, the doors finally opened. "Thank you, sir," she cried. He nodded and let her run ahead. He listened for any more voices. None. Just the crackling of the ever-nearing fire. He felt panic strike him. He turned around to see a bit of the ceiling crack and fall into the middle of the hallway. Then it dawned on him. He was trapped. Countries looked around, making sure everyone had made it out safely. Wait! Where's Russia?" Ukraine yelled. Everyone looked around. Chips was staring at the flaming building. Loud sirens interrupted the crowd, informing them that the firefighters had arrived. "Russia! He's still in there!" Ukraine yelled, stumbling forward towards the flaming building. "Yuk, no!" Canada yelled, grabbing his significant other's arm. "No, Canada, I have to save him. He's still..." Ukraine was cut off by Canada pulling them into his chest. By now, the building was engulfed in flames. Russia was panicking. "Think, Russia, think. Water and fire is that. Bathrooms." He yelled in his head as he rushed into the men's bathroom. Considering that the women's ceiling had collapsed, he looked around. There were flames at the edges of the room. He climbed on top of the urinal, trying to stay as close to the water as possible. "Help! Somebody help!" He yelled as loud as he could, but no one could hear him over the crackling of the flames and the commotion between the countries. Well, everyone except one who heard him. Chips lunged forward, though was stopped by Germany as Germany grabbed the dog by his red collar. "Chips, no!" he yelled, holding the dog back with all his might. This only made the white dog pull harder. Germany watched in horror as the prong of the buckle started to slide out of the hole that was keeping the collar from falling off. Finally, it slipped out, and the white dog ran into the blazing building, sending Germany falling backwards onto his rear. He reached out his arm and yelled, "Chips!" America looked around frantically, straining his ears for Russia's cries for help. After hearing another "Please, someone help" from a familiar voice, he started to run towards it, but stopped in his tracks as he saw a piece of the burning ceiling had fallen down in his way. He took a deep breath and jumped, landing on the other side. He gave a quick glance back over before continuing to run towards Russia's voice. The tall man felt tears rolling down his face. Then he heard a bark. He turned his head to see his dog. "Chips, what are you—" He was interrupted by a small coughing fit. What are you doing here, boy?" he said. He could feel the smoke stinging his eyes. The dog barked again and walked over, gently grabbing the man's hand in his muzzle. He started to walk towards the door of the bathroom when there was a large crack. The two's eyes widened as the doorway collapsed in front of them. Had they just been a little faster, they could have been crushed. The two exchanged glances until the dog noticed that there was a window on the other side of the bathroom. He ran over and started to scratch at the window with his paws. Germany didn't bother to hide the fact that he was bawling his eyes out. He stared at the red leather collar in his hands, admiring the golden tag with "Chips" engraved into it. Ukraine was still crying into Canada's chest. Then Poland squinted, as he thought he heard something. "Quiet! Everyone quiet!" he yelled. Soon the crowd became silent. He looked up at the building, hearing faint barks. Then his eyes widened as he saw two white paws and two large arms banging on one of the windows. "They're alive!" Germany yelled, his tears of guilt turning into tears of joy. The firefighters wasted no time getting a ladder over to the window. Everyone's heart dropped as it just barely didn't reach the window. Russia banged on the window again, almost falling too far forward as it shattered. He ignored all of the glass in his arms as he saw the ladder on the back of the truck was just too short to save him and Chips. He flinched as he heard the ceiling start to crack. Russia lunged forward, embracing the white dog in his arms and holding him tight. Russia felt something warm cuddling up against his chest. He smiled as he enjoyed the feeling. Then he furrowed his brows in confusion. "Wait a minute," he thought as he opened his eyes to see a field filled with golden flowers. Then he looked down to see a face that he hadn't seen in a long time, staring at him. Tears immediately started to stream down his face. "America!" he yelled, smashing his lips against his lover's. The kiss was passionate. Russia thought that a moment like this would never come again. After a few moments, the two pulled away. Russia gasped. "You have wings. Do I have wings? Am I dead? Where is Chips? Is he okay?" Russia exclaimed. America smiled as he set his hand on Russia's. "Chips is okay," he said, looking into the taller's eyes. "Where is he?" Russia asked. America just stared into Russia's eyes. "He's right here," America said. At first, Russia was confused. Then it dawned on him. He looked over to America. Mary, were you—" "Yes," he simply replied, while Russia just looked dumbfounded. America chuckled. "And yes, we are both dead. Yes, again, we both have wings, just like everyone else, America explained. Russia, of course, had many, many more questions, which America answered politely. Eventually, Russia went silent and let a few tears fall down his face. You have no idea how much I missed you, he said, just barely above a whisper. America felt his own tears starting to stream down his face. I love you, Ruski. I love you too, Miri. The end. And that was the last chapter of this book. Tomorrow, the binge comp is coming. I hope you guys enjoyed this book as much as I did. But, Jesus Christ, major character death books. They exist. There aren't very many of them, but hey, this is a bit of spice. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description below. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Just enjoy your time. And I will see you tomorrow!